Imagine being told your entire life that you own nothing. No home, no land, no family history worth remembering. Then one day, a lawyer slides a thin envelope across the table and says, "You inherited 100 acres. That sounds like freedom, until he lowers his voice and adds, "But everything that matters is buried underneath it, because the land is empty. No house, no farm, no roads, just soil, silence, and an underground bunker someone desperately tried to erase. And the moment you step inside it, you realize the inheritance wasn't a gift. It was a confession." Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's story, make sure to subscribe and join our YouTube family. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is. I love seeing our viewers all over the world. Now, let's dive into the story. When I left the orphanage, all I officially owned in this world was a small suitcase, 3 worn-out shirts, and a legal document that said I had inherited 100 acres of land. 100 acres. No house. No money. No explanation. The lawyer who handed me the papers spoke like he was doing me a favor, but his eyes said otherwise. To him, it was empty property in the middle of nowhere. To me, it was the only thing in this world with my name on it. The drive took hours. The city slowly disappeared behind us. Buildings turned into scattered houses. Houses turned into fields. Fields turned into open land with long roads that felt endless. When the car finally stopped, the driver pointed ahead and said, "This is it." Then he left. I stood alone at the edge of my property. Wind moved through tall grass and soft waves. The sky was wide and pale blue, almost too big. The land stretched far in every direction. There were no fences, no signs, no buildings, just silence. For a moment I felt cheated. 18 years of waiting to belong somewhere, and this was it? Dirt and air? I started walking toward the center of the land. My shoes sank slightly into the soil. It was dry on top, but softer underneath, like it had been disturbed before. There were a few trees near the middle. Old ones, thick trunks, deep roots. Something about that spot felt different. As I got closer, I noticed the grass wasn't growing evenly there. It looked pressed down in a square shape. I dropped my suitcase and crouched. Using my hands, I brushed away dirt and weeds. Metal. Cold metal. My heartbeat began to rise. I cleared more soil, revealing the edges of a heavy steel hatch built into the ground. It was almost perfectly hidden under dirt and grass. If I had not walked directly over it, I might never have seen it. There was a keypad attached to one side, slightly rusted but not destroyed. This wasn't random. Someone wanted this hidden. My hands trembled as I examined it. I didn't know any code. I almost stepped back, thinking maybe this was a mistake. Then I saw something engraved near the frame. A date. My birthday. My throat tightened. Slowly, carefully, I entered the numbers. The keypad beeped once. Then it clicked. The sound echoed in the open field, loud and final. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. Then I grabbed the handle and pulled. The hatch lifted with effort, releasing a rush of cold air from below. It smelled clean. Not moldy. Not abandoned. There was a ladder leading down into darkness. I looked around once more at the empty land above me. Wind, grass, sky. Then I climbed down. The hatch closed automatically after me with a heavy metallic sound. Darkness surrounded me for a moment. Then lights flickered on one by one, illuminating a wide underground space. It wasn't a basement. It was a bunker, but not the kind from old war movies. This place felt organized, maintained. There was a small kitchen area with clean counters, a couch with a folded blanket, shelves filled with labeled boxes, a desk with papers neatly stacked. Electricity hummed quietly in the background. Someone had taken care of this place. Recently, my chest felt tight. I stepped forward slowly, my footsteps echoing softly. That's when I saw the wall. Framed photographs covered it. I froze. They were pictures of me. At 5 years old, sitting alone on a swing. At 7, holding a drawing. At 10, laughing during a group game. At 13, standing in the corner during a school event. They weren't security camera photos. They were careful, intentional. Someone had been watching me grow up. Tears blurred my vision before I even realized they were coming. All those nights wondering why no one wanted me. All those birthdays waiting for someone who never came. And yet someone had been there, just not close enough to touch. I moved toward the desk. There was a notebook placed neatly in the center. My name was written on the cover. I opened it slowly. The handwriting inside was steady but slightly uneven. If you're reading this, it means you found the bunker. My hands began to shake. I never stopped watching you. I never stopped loving you. The words felt heavy in my chest. I left you at the orphanage not because I did not want you, but because I had enemies, powerful people who would have used you to hurt me. I swallowed hard. I believed distance would keep you alive. Tears fell onto the pages, smudging the ink slightly. He explained everything. He had uncovered financial corruption involving influential families and corporations. He had gathered proof, documents, transactions, secret deals. When he got too close to exposing them, he became a target. The bunker was built as protection, a hidden space beneath land legally tied to me, a place to store evidence safely until the day I was old enough to understand. I watched your first steps through a camera hidden in a toy donation, the letter said. I saw your first school award through a lens across the street. I heard you cry on nights you thought no one cared. My chest hurt in a way I couldn't explain. He was there, but not really. Close, but unreachable. I wanted to come for you many times, the letter continued. But if they knew you were my child, they would have destroyed you to control me. So he chose absence. He chose my loneliness over my danger. I didn't know whether to feel grateful or angry. Maybe both. I kept reading. I do not leave you money because money can be traced. I leave you land because land hides what matters. Beneath it, you will find everything I collected. Truth. That was my inheritance. Not wealth. Not comfort. Truth. I stood and walked deeper into the bunker. There were shelves filled with organized files, each labeled carefully with dates and codes. There were hard drives stacked in protective cases, backup generators, communication equipment. He had prepared for war, but the part that broke me wasn't the evidence. It was the small bedroom at the back. A simple bed, a lamp, a folded blanket that looked recently touched. On the nightstand sat a photo frame, a woman holding a baby. She was smiling softly. I recognized my own eyes in hers. My mother. I had never seen her before. Under the frame was a short note. She loved you more than anything. I sat on the edge of the bed and held the picture tightly. For 18 years, I believed I came from nothing. Now I realized I came from sacrifice. The loneliness I carried suddenly felt different. It wasn't rejection. It was protection. But protection still leaves wounds. I wiped my face and returned to the main room. The bunker no longer felt mysterious. It felt personal. It felt like a message left behind by someone who trusted me enough to find it. The land above was still empty. To the world, it was just 100 acres of nothing. But underground, my entire history waited in silence. I looked around at the files, the photos, the quiet hum of electricity. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel invisible. Someone had seen me, every step, every year. But now the watching was over. Now the choice was mine. Expose the truth, or bury it again? I picked up the notebook once more and read the final line. I hope you forgive me, and I hope you are stronger than I was. I closed the book gently. The bunker lights glowed softly around me. Above ground, the wind continued to move through empty grass. Below ground, I finally understood. I had not inherited land. I had inherited a story, and it was waiting for me to decide how it would end. I did not sleep that night. Even though there was a bed in the bunker, even though my body was exhausted from the long day, my mind refused to rest. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the wall of photographs again. I saw my younger self laughing without knowing someone was watching. I saw the letter in my hands. I heard the words about sacrifice and enemies and protection. I sat at the desk and opened the first file. The folders were labeled by year. Inside each one were printed emails, bank transfers, contracts, scanned passports, shipping logs. At first, the information meant nothing to me. Numbers, names, signatures. But the deeper I looked, the clearer the pattern became. The same companies appeared again and again. Different names, same addresses. Money moved in circles. Properties were bought and sold within weeks at impossible prices. Shell corporations connected to larger corporations, and those larger corporations connected to politicians. This wasn't small corruption. This was a network. I found a separate folder marked Personal Notes. Inside were handwritten pages from my father. He explained how he started as a financial analyst, how he noticed unusual transfers during an audit, how one discovery led to another. He followed the money quietly for years, until he realized the truth. A group of powerful families had built a system that allowed them to control markets. Before crashes happened, they created instability. Then they profited from it. Entire communities lost jobs and homes while they grew richer. He gathered proof carefully, but when he refused to join them, they threatened him. Not directly. They froze accounts. They audited him repeatedly. They followed him. And when he realized they had discovered he had a child, he panicked. That was when he left me at the orphanage. Not because he wanted freedom, but because he believed distance would make me invisible. I closed my eyes tightly. All those years I thought I was unwanted. But in reality, I was hidden. I stood up and walked deeper into the bunker. There was a room I had not opened yet. A door marked with a small red sticker. Inside there were computer monitors and a large central screen. I pressed the power button. The system came alive slowly, lights blinking in sequence. A login screen appeared. Under the password field was a small note taped to the frame. "Your mother's name." I hesitated. I looked at the photo again in my mind. Her face. Her smile. I whispered her name softly and typed it in. Access granted. The screen filled with organized folders, video recordings, live financial tracking systems, archived surveillance data. Then something unexpected happened. A small window popped up in the corner. It was a recorded video file labeled, "If he opens this." My heartbeat accelerated. I clicked it. My father appeared on screen, sitting in this very room. He looked tired, older than in the photos. His eyes carried weight. "If you are seeing this, it means you did not walk away." He paused for a moment. "I hoped you might. I hoped you would sell the land and forget this place." He let out a soft breath. "But if you stayed, it means you are like me." The words felt heavy. He continued explaining how he had one final plan, not to destroy the families directly, but to expose the pattern publicly in a way they could not deny. He had built software that tracked their manipulations in real time, but he never got to release it, because someone inside the network betrayed him. A name appeared on the screen. It was someone I recognized, a sponsor from the orphanage, a man who donated every year, who shook my hand when I was 16 and told me to work hard. He had been smiling at me, all while reporting information back to the people hunting my father. My stomach twisted. That meant they always knew where I was. They just didn't act, maybe because I was useless to them, or maybe because they were waiting. I stood up and began pacing. If they knew about me, then this bunker was not safe forever. The system beeped softly. A notification appeared. External network ping detected. My heart stopped. Someone was trying to access something connected to this property. The software my father built automatically blocked the attempt. But the attempt meant one thing. They knew I had activated the system. I wasn't invisible anymore. Fear settled deep in my chest. I was just 18. I had no allies, no money, no experience in fighting people like this. But I also had something they didn't expect. Their secrets. I returned to the desk and opened more files. Among the documents was something personal. A video of my father holding me as a baby. He was laughing. My mother was behind the camera. "You are going to be stronger than me," he said to baby me in the recording. My throat tightened. I realized something in that moment. This was not just about corruption. It was about choice. My father chose to fight and lost everything. My mother chose to stand by him and paid the price. I was given distance, safety, and time. Now the decision was mine. The monitors beeped again. Another network attempt, more aggressive this time. The system blocked it again, but a countdown appeared on screen. Security trace in progress. They were narrowing the location. My hands felt cold. I looked around the bunker. The photos, the files, the bed, the evidence. This was my history, but it could also become my grave. I opened the final folder labeled Emergency. Inside was a simple instruction. If discovered, choose quickly. 2 options appeared on screen. Option 1, upload all evidence immediately to multiple public servers. Instant exposure. No turning back. Option 2, activate relocation protocol. Destroy the bunker and disappear with a portable copy of data. One choice meant war. The other meant survival. My breathing became uneven. For 18 years, I had no control over my life. Now everything depended on me. The countdown on screen continued. They were close. I thought about the orphanage, about the sponsor who smiled, about the years I believed I was alone. I wasn't alone. I was prepared. My father did not raise me directly, but he shaped my path through absence. He forced me to grow without privilege, without safety nets. He made sure I learned resilience. The countdown reached 60 seconds. I stepped toward the control panel. My hands hovered over the keyboard. Fear whispered at me to run, to burn everything and disappear. But another voice rose stronger. If I ran, this cycle would continue. More families would lose homes. More children would grow up wondering why life was unfair. The system beeped louder. 30 seconds. I closed my eyes briefly. I forgive you, I whispered into the quiet bunker. Then I made my choice. The countdown reached 10 seconds. 9, 8. My finger hovered above the keyboard. My heart pounded so hard it felt like it would break through my chest. I chose option 1. Upload all evidence. If I was going to live with the truth, then the world would too. The screen immediately shifted into motion. Files began compressing. Data streams started moving across multiple encrypted channels. Progress bars filled quickly, then slowly, then quickly again. A warning flashed. Location trace accelerating. They knew. Whoever they were, they understood what was happening. Their system was fighting back, trying to block the uploads. My father's software responded automatically, rerouting through dozens of mirrored servers across different countries. Sweat ran down my back. For 18 years I felt small, invisible. Now I was pressing a button that could shake powerful families. The upload reached 40%. The bunker lights flickered. Another alert appeared. Unauthorized drone activity detected above property. They weren't just tracing digitally. They were coming physically. Fear tried to crawl into my mind, but something inside me felt strangely calm. This was the moment my father prepared for. This was why he left the land instead of money. Land can't be frozen. Land hides things. Land buys time. The upload reached 60%. The system opened a live feed from above ground. Through hidden cameras near the trees, I saw 2 black vehicles stop at the edge of the field. Men stepped out wearing dark clothes, moving carefully. They looked organized, quiet, not police, not random. Professionals. 75%. The bunker door automatically locked and reinforced. My father had anticipated this possibility. Thick steel bolts slid into place above me. But nothing lasts forever. I knew that. The men outside began scanning the ground. One of them stopped near the trees, near the hatch. I clenched my jaw. 88%. A loud metallic sound echoed above. They found it. The system displayed structural resistance time estimate. 23 minutes before breach. The upload reached 95%. I stared at the final progress bar as if my life depended on it. Because it did. 97, 98, 99. Complete. The screen flashed green. Global distribution successful. Multiple journalists notified. International watchdog organizations alerted. Anonymous release scheduled across social networks. It was done. There was no taking it back. Even if they destroyed this bunker, the information was already spreading. I leaned back in the chair and let out a long breath I didn't know I was holding. Above me, I heard the first heavy impact against the hatch. They were trying to force it open. The system switched automatically to emergency mode. A calm message appeared on screen. Relocation protocol available. Now that the upload was complete, option 2 activated automatically. I could still escape. My father had built the tunnel system leading away from the bunker. Disguised beneath natural rock formations nearly half a mile away, he planned for both outcomes. Fight. Or survive. But there was something else on the screen now. A new file had unlocked. It was labeled Final Truth. Confused, I opened it. A video began playing. My father looked different in this one, softer, less tired. If you are watching this, it means you chose exposure, he said quietly. He smiled faintly. I was hoping you would. My chest tightened. He continued. The corruption I uncovered was never just financial. It was generational. Fathers teaching sons how to manipulate systems. Mothers protecting the illusion of power. They believed control was inherited. He leaned closer to the camera. I wanted to test something different. My mind went still. I wanted to see if integrity could be inherited too. I froze. He explained that the bunker was not just a storage space. It was an experiment. Not on the world. On me. He left me in the orphanage not only to protect me from enemies, but to protect me from his influence. He wanted me to grow without wealth, without bias, without entitlement. He wanted to know who I would become if I built myself from nothing. Tears filled my eyes again. I could have taken you with me, he said. But then you would have grown up inside fear, inside anger, inside my war. He paused. I needed to know if you would choose justice without being raised for it. Above me, another loud crash echoed through the bunker. Metal bending. Time was running out. The video continued. If you expose them, then you are stronger than I was. Because I gathered proof but never had the courage to release it. My breathing stopped for a second. He never uploaded the data himself. He was afraid of the consequences. He built everything, prepared everything, but couldn't take the final step. That step was mine. "You are not my weapon," he said softly in the video. "You are my proof." The screen faded. I sat there in silence while heavy drilling sounds vibrated above me. The twist wasn't the bunker. It wasn't the conspiracy. It was this. My father did not want revenge. He wanted redemption, not for himself, but for the idea that power always corrupts the next generation. He wanted to prove that a son of a hunted man could grow up without hatred and still choose to do what was right. The emergency lights began flashing red. Breach imminent. I grabbed the portable drive containing a copy of the evidence, just in case. Then I activated the relocation protocol. A hidden section of the wall slid open, revealing a narrow tunnel lit by dim lights. As I stepped inside, I looked back one last time at the bunker. It was never about the land. It was never about the underground base. It was about choice. Above ground, the men would break in soon. They would find empty rooms and burned servers. Because once relocation activated, the system began wiping physical hardware automatically. The truth was already free, and I was walking away alive. The tunnel stretched long and quiet beneath the earth. My footsteps echoed softly as I moved forward. I thought about the orphanage again. About the nights I felt forgotten. Now I understood. I was never forgotten. I was being given the chance to become something on my own. Not shaped by revenge, not shaped by privilege, shaped by decision. After nearly 20 minutes of walking, I reached the tunnel exit. It opened behind a cluster of rocks near a dried riverbed far from the trees. Fresh air hit my face. In the distance, I could hear faint helicopter blades. News spreads fast. The land that looked empty would soon be surrounded by cameras. Reporters, investigators, powerful families would scramble to deny everything. But digital records don't lie. Patterns don't lie. Truth once released cannot be buried again. I stood there watching the sky change color as the sun began to set. For the first time in my life, I did not feel like a child without a past. I felt like someone who had ended one. My father built a bunker underground. But what he really built was a question. Would I become what they feared? Or what he hoped? I chose. And that choice changed everything. The boy who left the orphanage with nothing but 100 acres of land now walked away with something far greater. Not power, not revenge, but a name that meant something different now. Not the son of a hunted man, not an abandoned child, but the first generation that broke the chain. And somewhere in whatever silence follows truth, I hoped he knew. The experiment worked.